and welcome to today's episode of Heart and Heart with Naomi, and I am yours truly, Naomi Harry. This is the official 6th episode of this podcast, and we're growing stronger. If this is your first time here, welcome. This is a wonderful, beautiful, safe space where we talk about love and life experiences. And if you haven't, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you give this a review wherever you're listening to the podcast. Give it a like, possibly a comment, and definitely share. If you're coming right back after a couple of other episodes, I am happy to welcome you. You're a real G and you like better thing. I can see. And that is to say, this podcast is top notch, if I do say so myself. I say that based on the feedback I've gotten from everybody who was listening. Thank you so much. I am really grateful. I'm really grateful for the amount of tips and suggestions that I've been getting on how to improve on the podcast. Do well to keep them coming if you have more for me.
Today's topic is moving on after being cheated on. You know, how to start new love after being cheated.
Now, this episode feeds directly off the last one where we talked about how to enjoy being single. Now, after you have been, based on the last episode, productively single, you will start to desire a relationship. We get to that point where we all start to want love, you want romance, you have so much love to give, you want somebody to share it with, you need some kind of attention, and just maybe you just need companionship. You just don't want to be alone anymore, and you think that it's about time. You know, it's been a while since my last relationship, or maybe you haven't dated at all, but you want to know if you are in the mental state to be in a new relationship. So this episode we're going to be talking about the things that we should be considering before, hopping into a relationship. The things that will indicate that we're truly ready to be in a healthy relationship. So there are singles here and there just sitting at home wondering, when is it going to be my turn, right? When am I going to truly be ready to be in a lovely relationship? What should I consider? And many times you have been in a very chaotic past relationship. Sometimes a lot of horrible things must have happened to you. You must have been cheated on. It might be that the last relationship ended so crazily. You might have gone through a full spiral of going right back to your ex, breaking up and making up, and then you finally realize, oh, maybe this guy is not the one for me and I should find someone else. I have a couple of people that I know that you've ended your relationship, you're no longer with this person, but something still drags you right back to them. Somehow you're still in communication, you know that this isn't good for you anymore, but because you don't have a replacement for it, you are still going right back, even if you know it's not serving you anymore. There are several situations where you find yourself as a single person. Sometimes you have a lot of options around you, but none of them really meets your standard, and you are wondering if you should settle. Or sometimes you just might still be processing what has happened in your last relationship. Sometimes it was really, really bad. A couple of people have experienced partners who because of their behavior and their insecurities projected that on you, and somehow that also contributed to you having your own insecurities, you having your own trauma from it. There are many times where a relationship ends and you want to replace the pain that you feel from losing this person with a new relationship. You just want to pacify the pain with someone new, because you feel like you can't imagine yourself single. You don't even know what it's like to be single. You can't imagine not having a partner to share everything with, not having somebody to love, and maybe since I still feel all these many things for this person, how about I take this, right, and just move it from right here to over here and love someone else who is probably deserving. A lot of times when you make an emotional decision, you end up regretting it. Choosing to pacify the pain with someone new is a horrible decision. The reason is this: you haven't treated your pain. You haven't handled it. You have that unprocessed bias. You have that unprocessed feeling about the last relationship that will have a great effect on your new relationship, and you know it. You know that somehow you haven't really recovered, but you just don't want to be lonely, so you're not considerate of what you put the other person through. So now here's to say, while you might be punishing somebody else for what someone else did, you're not going to enjoy the relationship because it's not going to come out well at the end of the day. So why not put yourself through making all the considerations and preparing yourself truly, mentally and physically for an actual relationship before you get into one. So while you treat the pain and you handle the resentment that you feel for your last partner for everything that had happened, you know that you share some blame in it, but you need to consider what actually happened in your last relationship. And how do you feel about what happened in the last relationship? The story of a lady whose husband had a side chick, right? For about 2 years. So he rented an apartment for the side chick, right? Just some blocks away from the daycare his child schooled. And now the reason was so that he had some proximity from her, so he knows he can just, go right over there. And he would tell her, you can't meet he used to call her his baby mama. You can't meet my baby mama and my children because, I'm not ready yet, but very soon we're going to get married. And as the wife in such a relationship, you do not know what's happening. According to her, she didn't know what happened until somebody came to tell her, okay, this is what your husband is doing and it's been happening for a long time. And so she wanted to find out how many things he actually told the lady about the state of their relationship. And so she went there, and then she found out that he had told the lady that she was crazy, that she was emotionally unstable, and that she was treating their child horribly, and he was looking for a new mom for the child, and that he was seeking for new love. But this love wasn't new anymore. This love had lasted years. Now, such a person in the recovery stage from that relationship, you will go through anger, you go through hate, you will have resentment for the person. You'll be so angry that they made you lose them because you weren't ready for it. You weren't ready to let go of the relationship. And then they just had to go and fuck up so bad that you had to let them go. And you probably, especially when you're married, you don't ever imagine yourself being single again. And so why did you have to screw up so bad that now I have to go and put up with getting to know someone new? I have to go and put up with finding someone else. And so you're very angry. You're still very angry at the person. Now, how we react to that state, a couple of people, even after being through such betrayal, would still be hooked on their exes, still want the person back no matter what. You don't want them to do that same thing to you again, but you don't want to really be without them because of how fond of them you are. But all these evaluations you have to make, you have to find a way to concentrate on yourself first. You have to understand that your life isn't about loving somebody else. It is about you. It's about you first. And so you have to concentrate on yourself. And so you have to understand how you feel about the end of the relationship. You have to have brought yourself to the point where you understand that relationship was meant to end because certain things have indeed happened. You can't be in denial of things that happened in your past relationship because things are the reality. And the fact is that this relationship has done its time in your life. This relationship has come and gone. And so you need something new and you need to move on because people come into our lives in times and seasons, and sometimes, unfortunately, we have to say goodbye. And based on this story, if it is a person that cheated on you, you'd wonder to yourself, like I'm sure this lady did, am I truly crazy? Like, is this what this person thinks? Or the reasons they gave for cheating on me, are they true? Did I rightly deserve to be cheated on? Did I deserve what happened to me? Sometimes we go through that, but like, maybe I deserve what happened to me. If you have been a cheater, you'd understand that cheating is not about you. Well, a lot of people will not be proud to say that they've cheated before. Sometimes when you do not want somebody, when someone is simply not enough for you, it's not about them, it's about how you feel. It's about you desiring something completely different. It's about you desiring something new, something that will give you some sort of excitement. It's just about you being naughty and not being able to stay faithful, choosing not to be. And most times it has nothing to do with your partner. While we give it a lot of names, or while they will give it a lot of names, you have to come to the understanding that it's not about you and you did not bring this upon yourself. There's some situations where you've hurt your partner so bad, you've done some things repeatedly, and this led into cheating. Or sometimes it's just sexual frustration and you feel like, oh, you need an outlet, or the person has been cheating on you so bad that you went right back and cheated on them just to get back at them. Or children are involved and you feel so trapped and you feel like, even if this person cheats, I can't leave, and so maybe that leads you into that infidelity. However it happens, cheating is a personal decision and it has nothing to do with the spouse. And so if you've been cheated on, you have to understand that it's not about anything you did. It's just that the person wanted to do it. That's all you should see it as, a person just wanting for somebody else. Now, a guy told my sister that the reason why he cheated on his wife is because she didn't wash the curtains in their house. And so he wasn't happy whenever he walked into the house and saw that the house wasn't clean, and that he felt like he needed somewhere else to be that would be clean, and his wife was dirty, and she didn't do this and she didn't do that. And we have to understand that a lot of times, if you're a lady and a married man comes to talk to you, or a married woman, sometimes they exaggerate these reasons why they want to be with you. They come and tell you all sorts of things that their partner probably isn't. Like this man who goes to tell someone that his wife is completely crazy. So you have to consider the fact that what this person is telling you is probably not the honest truth. There's some woman or some man somewhere that is not as bad as they paint him to be to justify the relationship you have with them. And so the information that you're working with is probably not the real truth about the spouse of that person. Cheating goes with lying. And so whoever is trying to cheat will find ways to make up new stories. Whoever is trying to cheat will have a way to justify it, whether or not it is right. It just comes with it. It comes with the activity. And so you cannot be expecting honesty from a person who is being two-timey, because why didn't they just go honestly and tell their partner? I'm of the opinion that if you know that you can never be faithful, and you feel like you should always cheat on your spouse, and you have entitlement to multiple women, or you just want to freely move around, I'm of the opinion that you should have a conversation with your spouse about that freedom that you need, and both of you should decide on whether or not it would stand in the relationship. And now a lot of guys will say, oh, I'm protecting my wife from the hurt, but I think a little honesty will help. Sometimes nothing would have stopped you from cheating. No matter how good your partner was, you do it because it is your desire for somebody else that truly makes you cheat. It's not, nobody forces you into the arms of someone else. Truly. Somehow you're there because you want it to be. There are some situations where both of you know that you're living in separate countries, and right now we cannot completely be loyal to one another. It's unspoken, but it's happening. And still in those situations, you can't say that your partner forced you into it. You can't say that it's the fault of your partner that you're cheating. It is your full choice, because why didn't you completely leave is the question. And now, while I don't like that question, because you can't fully understand the circumstance that makes the person want to stay, to be single, and to choose to be alone from a relationship is not an easy decision to make. So it's not something you should be saying, oh, why didn't you just leave? Because leaving is not as easy as we make it look. While you're considering that this person who cheated on you is probably lying, you also have to consider what role you played in allowing this thing to happen. What role you played in permitting it to. Did you look away the whole time and hope not to find out that they were doing it because you just wanted this relationship? And there's sometimes that I found myself in situations where I've been with a partner and I just want to forgive you so that I can have some sort of peace. I want to forgive you so that I can relieve myself of the anger that I feel, and I want to move on. And so I move on so quickly. And that thing happens a lot, especially to men. You don't want to deal with it, so you try your best to forgive so that you're moving on. And then you move on too quickly and you don't handle the problem. And so the problem repeats itself because it'll keep coming back. It'll keep coming back because you didn't handle it the first time, because you're in a hurry to move on, that you did not really talk about this thing and tell the person truly how you feel, because you don't want to be so, I don't want to be problematic is what we say to ourselves. I don't want to be problematic. I don't want to make a big deal out of this. It's really not that bad, but you offended you and you know that it probably will happen again. So instead of making the mistake of moving on so quickly, instead of making the mistake of not talking about it and rushing right out and acting like nothing ever happened, it's important for you to sit yourself down and discuss the matter and put it right in front of you and say, oh, this is what has happened, before you truly forgive and before you truly move on like nothing happened. I realize that when you move on like nothing happened, sometimes it gives your partner some sort of freedom, because it was easy for him to continue to hurt me because he knew I wanted to forgive him so bad. He knew that I wanted some peace, and so when he knows that you've moved on and you've given him a clean slate, and so he's going to ride on that clean slate. You have to understand what role you played in the end of the relationship and what effect that it had. Did Did you constantly give the person excuses for the things that they did to you? So what kind of permissive behavior did you portray that allowed this type of hurt to happen to you? And so you have to take full responsibility for the things that you have done. And so while you're entitled to your feelings, while you're entitled to your hurt, you cannot blame yourself for too long. Feel it, go through it, experience it, and bring yourself out of it. You cannot continue to soak yourself in those horrible feelings. Don't allow heartbreak to make you circumspect. Don't allow heartbreak to make you reclusive, take your life from you and take everything from you, and make you so afraid of taking risks that you can no longer have a life, you can no longer live, and you can no longer enjoy yourself. Don't allow heartbreak to make you ashamed to show your face. Sometimes you're so hurt that you don't want anybody to see you because you don't want to fake a smile. And so from you choosing not to fake a smile, you choose not to go out. From there, you choose not to see anyone, you choose not to go to church sometimes, you choose not to hang out, you don't want to see your friends, but you don't want them to ask you about your relationship, and you know you're not going to lie, or you don't want to have to lie, and so you don't want to go through having this conversation all over again. We've all been there. But you cannot allow the hurt to truly change your life. You find yourself so comfortable in your space that you don't make an effort to get into a new relationship. You have to be seen, you have to meet people, you have to go out there, and you have to indulge in your hobbies to make yourself happy. And so while you're going through all the hurt, it is your responsibility to do those things that make you happy, to reduce it, and so that the healing is happening quicker for you. If you don't rescue yourself, who's going to rescue you? Who's going to come and rescue you? Who's going to come and tell you, okay, feel better now? While a couple of us have those fixers, those people who fix the broken beds, those friends of yours that you run right back to whenever you're heartbroken, and they help you through it, they talk to you. And sometimes you have this friend of yours who has been interested in you their whole lives, and they're right there to catch you whenever you fall, and they'll give you all the attention that you need. They'll take care of you, they'll clean your wounds, they'll follow you and insult the person, they'll tell you how you deserve so much better, and somehow they give you all the attention that you need through the process. Sometimes it's your family, and they come through for you and take you through all of that, help you heal, and help you fly again, and make you ready to be in a new relationship, and make you feel like, okay, I'm in a good place now. You have to understand what this experience did to you. You also have to understand that everybody's not your ex. And so while you know the things that you felt, and you know the things that have happened to you, you have to know that everybody around you is not responsible for what's happened to you. What effect did he have on you? Sometimes you feel like everybody's lying, like there's nobody that's truly genuine, because this thing you're saying to me now, the other guy who I gave my entire heart and I gave everything to also said it in the beginning of the relationship. So why should I believe? Why should I trust you? How am I sure that you're not going to do the same thing? But everybody's different. While they might do their own bad things to you, you have to understand that they won't do exactly the same thing your ex did. And so you have to decide that you're not going to blame somebody else for something someone did to you. You can't transfer the aggression. Sometimes you're looking for an outlet to drop your hurt. So someone hurt me, so me, I can actually hurt somebody. That carelessness is unnecessary, because you come out of the feeling and you feel just as horrible. You feel like a bad person for putting someone else through suffering for what another person did to you, and you'll never feel proud of it. That's if you're truly a good person. You'll never feel proud of it. So why try? Why put someone else through suffering for what someone did to you? So you have to make sure that you're in a position where you understand that trusting somebody else is not going to end up the same way it did the last time. And so you have to have some sort of emotional stability and understanding of life in itself. The same way you can't come home and blame your mom for what your wife did to you, you cannot just go and blame somebody entirely different for what someone did in your past, because they're telling you that they love you because they do. It doesn't have to be a lie, because they don't feel exactly the same way the last person felt about you. In this regard, how do you feel about your ex? How do you feel when the name comes up? You have to search yourself to find out how you truly feel about the person. How do you think you feel when you see them? Are you verklempt when their name comes up in conversations? Are you still besotted? Are you somehow still loving them somehow? Can you narrate to somebody that asks you what happened to your relationship? Because it's a question that will come up. You can't blame people that know you and care about you for wanting to know if you're okay and if you're still in a relationship with somebody. Can you actually make it Would you be able to tell the story without crying, without getting fully emotional? Do you get upset when someone mentions the person's name? How do you feel about your ex? Are you still in love? Do you still feel like you needed to give it one more chance? Do you feel like you can't move on without closure? Now, while I think closure is good and closure is important, closure is nice, yeah? You reach out to the person and say, you know what, let's have a conversation. You tell them, oh, this is how I felt. This is the reason why the relationship ended. I forgive you. You forgive me. Oh, butterflies and rainbows. We're moving on peacefully. While it's helpful, it helps you move on. It helps you understand what truly happened to you. But what if you do not get closure? What if that opportunity doesn't come? What if you do not get closure? What if that opportunity doesn't come? What if that opportunity never comes? What if you never get the chance to know how the person felt? What if you never get the chance to have that closure? Does that mean you won't move on? In fact, why do you need it? Do you need the person to come and tell you how hurt you are? You need that apology so desperately. While closure helps, it is not as necessary as we feel it is to our recovery. Sometimes seeking closure circles you back into the arms of the person you're trying to leave. So while you're going in search for it, I want you to consider the option of actually falling right back. Consider it. And then if you're in a position where you want your ex back and you want to give it one more chance, while I will not recommend you going back into a situation that didn't serve you in the first place, because it's the same person and they probably hurt you in the same way that they did, I'm not here to judge anybody. I'm just here to make sure that we have all the information we need for whatever decision we end up making. As long as it is not abusive, as long as you do not feel unsafe around the person, as long as it's not someone that's going to end up killing you, and you want to make it work, it's okay. But then you have to come to terms with certain things that may happen, may or may not happen. You have to amplify whatever happened in the relationship in the first place to its worst possible form. What if this person never changes? What if they continue to do what they've been doing? Can I take it? What if it gets worse? Will I be able to handle it? Do I fully understand why they behave this way? And then if they're coming to apologize to you, because our exes do that, they'll come and pour some honey in your ear and tell you how they're going to change and how they're never going to do it again. And I'm so sorry, I hurt you so bad. I don't know why I do that. And they come back and they ask for you to come back into the relationship with them. Are you sure that they're going to change? Why are they changing now? Are they choosing this because they have also gone to see what it's like to be single and to be without you, and now they have value for you and they want you back? Sometimes our exes actually want to change. They want to make an effort to do it differently. But then a month later, they're back to doing what they were doing. Does it truly serve you to go back into the relationship with them? You have to understand that. If you're going back to your ex, you owe yourself the responsibility of forgiving them. And the reason is for your own peace, for your own sanity. You have to forgive what they've done. And now forgiveness doesn't mean that you bring it up every chance you get. Forgiveness does not mean you throw it in their face, everything that they did. Forgiveness means you give them the space to prove themselves to you, because the person who you're taking back has the responsibility to earn your trust back. And so do they want to do the work? Are you both ready to do the work? Are you both ready to build your trust over again, start from scratch, and try to get to know each other, try to understand each other? Are you ready to be open about your feelings? Now, while you're trying to forgive a cheating partner, like in the situation I gave, you have to know that you cannot keep bringing up the person they cheated on you with. You cannot bring it up every chance you get. Every time they get an answer wrong, or every time they mistake you for somebody else, or every time something comes up, you're like, oh, are you sure you're not mistaking me for that other girl? Or every time that they're thinking and lost in thought, you're imagining that they're thinking of somebody else. Every time they walk out of the room to make a phone call because it's noisy, you're imagining that they're talking to somebody else. Now, while all those things will naturally happen to you, it's important that when those insecurities come up, you actually voice it and tell them, okay, this situation, watching you walk out of the room to whisper on the phone, made me feel a little insecure and a little uncomfortable. Let it not be that every time they're out of your sight, you imagine them in bed with somebody else. So you have to take the time to truly forgive them for what they've done. And if they can truly change, you have to acknowledge their effort. You have to acknowledge what they're doing to make the relationship better. Both have to work hard on the relationship to make it work. You have to both have an understanding that, we're going to make this work. You're actually going to put an effort into it. Sometimes you're just in the middle of a chaotic divorce and you decide you want to give your partner one last chance. So you both have to make the effort, hope for the best. and do your very best and see where that goes. So before considering getting into a new relationship, you have to do some introspection. You have to try to think of it. What's your temperament like? Am I dismissive? Am I easily upset? Does everything annoy me? Do I truly want to be with somebody else? Am I going to get upset everything the person says? Am I paranoid? Are you paranoid? Are you difficult to be around? Because if you know that you're not in the right mood for it, you know that you're going to transfer aggression a lot, so then maybe you shouldn't be around somebody else. If you know that you still have those bouts of sadness where you just want to be alone and you're just gloomy for no reason, it's just because you have some unsettled pain in you, so you kind of have to understand how you're feeling in the moment. And if you're going to be a fun, interesting, loving partner, and if you're not, there's no need to rush. And then ask yourself, why do you want a new relationship? What do you want out of it? What kind of relationship do you want? What's the relationship for? What are you truly desiring? For what? Is it for Gary? Is it for being Sandodo? What do you want the relationship for? Really? Do you just want sex? Do you just want sex available to you? Are you looking for companionship? Do you just need someone who can pay attention to you? They say some men are only capable of being in a stable relationship when they're broke. Are you looking for the most cost-efficient way to get companionship? Is that what you're looking for in a relationship? Are you looking for a pastime? Are you looking for a bad boy that's going to flatter you and make you feel good? Are you looking for a stable relationship and a partner? You have to know what you're looking for so that you know the people that fit into this category and the people that can actually give that to you. Because you know there are people, we have a couple of options. Sometimes they don't fit into what we're looking for. So if what you're looking for is a partner that will marry you at the end of the day, you can't be going to search for a bad boy who is still in the heat of his youthful exuberance. You can't be looking for a woman who you know is still ready to explore and she needs some sort of variety in her life. You can't be in a relationship with someone who is not looking for what you're looking for. So if you know that what you want out of this relationship is some excitement, someone to go to the clubs with, someone to have a little fun with, you just want to get to know someone and be at peace for a while. Like that, sometimes when you're studying or when you're in school, you know that the partner you want shouldn't be there because you want to achieve, academic success. You want to concentrate a little bit, so you don't need this person in your immediate environment. And so maybe what you're looking for is a distant relationship. You need some love, but you need to be far away. There's so many different ways that we want companionship. So truly decide for yourself what that thing is and understand that whoever you're choosing needs to be able to give that to you. In that regard, you have to drop every unrealistic expectation. And so while you're looking at this person, you have to be realistic about what you expect from them in a relationship. You can't be expecting a woman who can clean, who can cook, who will be going to work, who will have children and still be in perfect shape, who's never going to get fat, who's probably never going to pass the size that you met her, who is always going to listen to your lies and stroke your ego no matter what you do to her, who's going to be your peace even if you're giving her hell. You cannot be unrealistic about expecting a man who is going to work so hard and bring the bag home, but then he's going to be fully able to pay attention to you. A man who is going to be a Christian and is going to be a nerd in some way, but he's also going to still be a very bad boy and, excite you. You can't be looking for unrealistic things in your partner. You have to understand that everybody's human and you're not perfect, so you can't expect some kind of perfection from them. You have to make some compromises here and there in your demands. While there are some important things that are the bare minimum that should exist in every relationship, you have to understand that you can't expect way too much from your partner. So while you're developing yourself, you have to understand that other people are on their own self-development journey and they probably will get better at it as time goes by. When you get into this new relationship, you have to let go of some things. You have to understand that there are certain things you're not going to do in this new relationship because why? We don't want it to end disastrously. And so you have to make sure that you are not complacent about things in this new relationship. You're going to let go of your complacency. You're going to let go of your nonchalance. You're going to let go of your pride because pride kills relationships. You're going to try to be as expressive as possible. You're going to make an effort as much as possible. Now, someone asked me, there's a lot of information in your podcast, and then the full 20 to 30 minutes that I listened to it, there's so much that you have said that by the end of the video, I cannot remember every single thing. Now, the reason why there's so much information for us online is not because we can grasp and remember every single thing that we read at the same time. It's just that you've heard it and little by little, you know that you have come to the understanding. And whether you like it or not, it's just like when you're faced with a test, you're going to remember the material that helps you solve the problem. And if you don't, you know where to find the solution. So research relationships, research how to be a good partner, research how to please your partner, research the things that you should do in a relationship to make it a healthy one. The same way you hear a word and you go straight to Google and find out what it is, understand that there's a huge amount of information online to teach us how to handle things, how to learn and unlearn. While it's good to pay for therapy and just go straight into therapy, we Nigerians know that we do not go through a lot of therapy, so you have to be self-taught. The essence of this podcast is that you know that there's this information somewhere that you can go and find whenever you need it. Sometimes we have loved ones and you know that they're going through a lot, but you know that you can't give them the advice they truly need. And so that's why these things are there. You know where the information is, and you know that you can recommend this to a friend. You know that you can recommend this to yourself. That's the beautiful thing about our generation. You have to appreciate the fact that you have everything available to you. You have everything here. You can find all the information that you need, and you can better yourself based on all this information that you have. You know, this talk of there's a lot of fish in the ocean. There isn't a lot of fish in the ocean. Yes, there are a lot of people that you can be intimate with. There are a lot of people that you can have around you, but by your standards, there's not a lot of people that can be truly compatible with you and that can give you that relationship that you're looking to achieve. So you have to consider what is peculiar to you. So while you're thinking there's a lot of fish in the ocean and you're in a relationship and you're hoping to hop out of it and you think you have it better somewhere else, you have to make sure that you're not in the habit of jumping out of your relationships once you get upset and when they're not truly irredeemable, because you're jumping out to meet all the fish in the ocean. Not everybody's going to meet your satisfactions, and everybody is peculiar, really. If you know that your standards are high, you have to be able to be patient to find that thing that you're looking for. Don't be in a hurry to settle for less. Don't be in a hurry to settle for the rest of the fish in the ocean. So you have to ask yourself, yes, I want a relationship, but am I ready to be a partner? Am I ready to be tolerant? Am I ready to make sacrifices? Am I ready to be accountable? Am I actually ready to give myself in truth to somebody else? Am I ready to open up and be seen for who I truly am? Am I ready to compromise? Am I ready to let go of everybody else and be with one person? Well, there's no perfect time to go back into a relationship. There are perfect circumstances. While there's no perfect person, there are perfect people for you. Even if you're seeking to be with somebody new, you have to not be desperate for it. You have to understand that a relationship can happen, but you have to be happy with yourself whether or not you're in one. Don't need it too much. You can't need to be in a relationship. Don't need it too much. Be complete without it, and then to come your way. And you'll find love at some point, as much as you desire it. And so this is where this episode comes to an end. I hope you liked it. I hope this was interesting for you to watch. So if you watched it up to this point, I'm very thankful, and I hope that you really liked it. It's Heart and Heart with Naomi. I'm Naomi Harry, and remember to like, subscribe, and give this a review wherever you're watching this from. Remember to give this a comment and to definitely share this with whoever you think would need to hear it, because we have to share love. We have to share information. And so I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.